Podcast. Episode whatever.
Episode who cares?
Who gives a shit? We're not here for that.
No.
I'm not following your rules while doing the same thing you guys
do.
Yeah, exactly. We're here. Connor, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Are you?
How you doing?
Are you on your period?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Oh, okay, so today's topic is periods.
Yeah, welcome to health class.
Health class. Why do women get so angry before their periods?
And
why are you so surprised every goddamn time?
I'm not having this discussion.
Moving on. Okay. You have no idea what we're talking about today.
Nope.
Okay.
Do you?
No.
Great.
What we're going to talk about and what I wanted to ask you, because this is something that I get asked a lot. So I want to ask you about it because obviously I have my own thoughts. And it has everything to do with fitness and life. Okay.
Okay.
We've talked about your old self has to die
right.
for your new self to live. We talked about setting really clear, strong boundaries for your own relationships with yourself, with your fitness, with your other people in your life. Now I want to talk about that dark, gnarly... Can you turn the TV off real quick, please?
I was watching that.
I know. I'm sorry. College game day. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, or you can... Yeah, that's good. That works, too. Do your own thing.
Thanks.
We muted it. So, what I want to know is those dark moments, those situations where you have decided to make the change. Because we talked about that a couple weeks ago on the Kill the Old Self. But, like, to stay, quote unquote, motivated. Now there's a big push with, like, motivation is stupid. Now it's discipline. Like, how the hell do you keep going? Like, legitimately, we had the origin stories of Project Power, overcoming 900 different things. You've had your story of terrible relationship and then getting drunk and then deciding to change your entire life and then sticking through it.
Yeah.
And we just talked about it before we started the show. That's not a show. We talked about, like, you know, you have these sad moments, like, how the hell do you keep going?
Yeah.
Why do you keep going? How do you keep going? What do you think about to keep going? Why don't you stop? Why?
So yeah, I hate to be the guy that's like discipline is like it becomes discipline and not motivation. But to put it simply, that is the truth, for me at least. So, and what I mean by discipline may not be what someone else means.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it because this is the shit. Like, everyone talks about the first sentence to that whole subject and say and they don't explain any of it.
Yeah. So for me, also, like, another very, like, oversaid thing is consistency is key. But it is.
I love that. I wanted to talk about that word too.
For me, I think consistency was more important than discipline because it became obviously, like, with 75 hard is very redundant, right? And that's where I started, as I've talked about before. So it was every single day I was doing something. So that kind of built my consistency along with my discipline. So then at the end of the 75 days, I'd done this for 75 days, right? So I was like, okay, I've been consistent, I've been disciplined. But now outside of, like, a program, quote unquote, that was keeping me those things, I had to now do it on myself, like, by myself without anything, keeping track of it. So I was like, okay, am I going to do this on my own? And short answer was yes, because I tell everyone this, and it's kind of funny. Like, you wake up and you don't think that you don't have to be motivated to brush your teeth. You don't have to be like, okay, get up, brush your teeth. Like, no, it's just part of your day. That's what the gym is for me now because of how consistent and disciplined I was. So I think everything when it's new and scary is never going to be easy. It's not going to come naturally. It's not going to be something that, like, immediately you're going to get up and do. But then whenever you've done it enough times, it isn't new or scary. It's just part of your everyday routine. And, like, that's what I tell everyone who's trying to get in the gym. I'm like, those first few weeks, there's no way to make those easy. There's no way to just get up and immediately go to the gym and immediately get your shit done that you want to get done. But all of the sudden, maybe 22 days in or 23 days in, you realize, oh, I literally just got up and without thinking about it, I just went and did it. So,
how do you get from day 0 to day 22?
Yeah, so that first chunk, you really do have to, I guess either, for me, it was almost the anticipation of I'm going to be this person that it's going to be easy for, and I really want to meet that person of, like, I I wasn't there yet, and I knew that every day I had to convince myself, but I was like, if I keep convincing myself, one day I'm not going to have to. And I want to know who that person is who doesn't need convincing or who doesn't need to feel motivated. Because, like, I mean, everyone says this too, but no one feels motivated, like, hardly ever to do anything. Like, naturally, human beings just don't want to get up and, like, do hard shit all day, every day. But,
Exactly.
there's some days you do, you know? Some days you wake up and you're like, I could run through
How
a
many?
brick wall.
How many in a 30-day
Not
fucking
many.
stint do you go, I'm going to get all of my shit
Genuinely,
done
for me, like, it's way less than it is true.
today? Tremendously less.
Way less. Like, and I've sometimes even get in my head about that, and I'll like talk to Ryan about it or talk to whoever, and I'm like, because then whenever I get really down on myself, I'm like, dude, is there something wrong with me that, like, I genuinely don't want to do anything ever? Like, because and half of that, you know, sometimes we battle with other mental things as well, but like sometimes I'm like, dude, I don't fucking want to, and like everyone makes it seem like they all want to, but then I have to remind myself, like, probably no one wants to, and everyone just is, just like me. Like, no one would know that I don't want to whenever they see me doing it, you know?
Which is why I like having these not podcasts with you, because I relate to you so much that externally looking in, everyone has this definition of Connor, of this bubbly, happy, cares about everything, loves everything, down for everything, always in a good mood person.
Yeah.
And I know that there's so much underneath the surface that goes into doing that the people that look outside going, well, that's just how she is, therefore she was able to take herself out of a bad relationship. And I want them to know this part.
Well, and that's what I try to tell people, because I always say, like, dude, if I can do it, you can. And I mean
Everyone
that because
says that shit though, right?
Exactly. And that's what I say. I'm like, but I'm saying that because none of it was even remotely close to being easy for me. And like, for some people it is easy, and I wish it was like that for everyone. Like, I'm never saying like they're better or worse than me, or like I had it harder, because I don't care about that. But for me it wasn't. So when I try to tell people that, I'm like, dude, if your perception of me is this really like happy, like motivated, disciplined person, that means I just accomplished everything I wanted to. That means I did exactly what I said I was going to do. But you wouldn't have thought that if you would have seen me at those first few days, until the one day that I woke up and I was like, oh, it's easy now, or easy, you know. But
even when you're in the moment being kind, when you have 900 heavy fucking things on your mind, you're making an active decision to be kind.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
It's in your nature, like, and nature just means that you have a predisposed ability to do it. But that decision to be kind is something that you're actively doing. Instead of saying, if someone says a story, instead of saying like, oh, that's cool, yeah, I have all these fucking problems, you go, oh my goodness, so congratulations. And you just, you know what I mean? That's an active decision, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's everything. Like, it's when someone, like, it's the difference if you see someone get your dream car and you're just like, fuck. Like, or you can say, dude, I'm so fucking happy for you. Like, my car's broken down. You know, like in your head, you're like, my car's broken down, but I'm so happy, because like, you should want to see people doing good things, even though you're not yet, or whatever. So yeah, that's, I don't know, long description short, I feel like it is discipline and consistency, and it's, honestly, there's no way to get through the first shitty part without just getting through the shitty part. Like, you just truly have to. And I kind of told everyone that. I like, you just have to. Like, anyone who said like, oh, how'd you do this? How'd you do this? Anything that I've done in my life, and they ask, I'm like, I literally just kind of did. Like, I don't have there's no recipe. There's no answer. You just have to. Like, and there's times that, like, whenever I went to bed that night and was like, okay, I'm starting the next day, like, I've said that a million times in my life, and that one time I just so happened to do it, and I haven't stopped. So I didn't know what I did differently that time. There was no answer. I didn't ask anyone advice. How do I complete Liz? No, I just fucking did it, you know? So yeah, I don't know.
So
what's your take on it?
Consistency, like, the consistency and discipline is obviously the foundation for everything. Everyone knows that. If you don't know that, you're not on the internet enough, like, for sure. So then I go, like, why aren't we consistent? Like, if I can understand, kind of like you go to the doctor and they say, hey, you have a rash on your arm, and they try to give you a something for the rash. But like, why do I have a rash? If I understood what gave me the rash in the first place, I can change my lifestyle and I won't get rashes ever again.
For sure.
When I go and break consistency. I want to analyze what the fuck really broke it. And what I came to find is in your adolescent life, as you become more mature, you go through high school, you go through college, you go through the real world, the amount of responsibility you take and the amount of work that you do increases every step forward.
Right.
You own a home, you have a lawnmower, it breaks, you have to fix it, right? Someone else throws it away for you. Someone picked it out of the dumpster and is going to fix it. So there you go.
Fuck yeah.
And so what happens, I think, as you get older, you go, let's say you plan Saturday as a night for just you. You're not going to go out, you're going to do your own thing, you're going to stay in. And then work calls you and says, Saturday, I need you to work. So you go, shit, I need the money. I decided I'm going to go work. Okay, so I sacrifice that time for myself to go work.
Right.
So then at work, you're already thinking, like, once you made the decision to go to work, you've just then at that same moment said, okay, Sunday, I'm going to fucking work or I'm going to chill and do my thing. And then while you're at work, they're like, hey, do you have a chance to come tomorrow? And what happens eventually is you stop having any confidence that you're going to have time for yourself ever again, because it's either work or your spouse or something is going to take your time that you think is for you. And so what I think happens is then you start weighing out the things that you're doing and you go, I have to fit myself somewhere. So I'm just going to break this habit in order to fit myself in.
Yeah.
And again, the gurus right now are all about like self-care and take time for yourself and blah, 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 blah. Little does everybody know, when you take responsibility for your problems in your life and then you work, the work that you're doing is taking care of yourself.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I talked about it with a client the other day. I said, if you have to mow your lawn and you say, fuck that, I haven't had a chance to sit down all week, I'm going to watch Netflix. Do you not think about the lawn the entire fucking time you're watching Netflix? Did you enjoy Netflix?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Get your ass up, go mow the lawn, and then enjoy yourself for 45 minutes instead of an hour and a half of not enjoying yourself.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if we can start compartmentalizing, framing the word consistency rather than never breaking habit, and instead think of it as you don't have to take care of yourself, quote unquote, the way you think you need to take care of yourself.
No, I agree.
Unless you get your shit done, the break you're seeking isn't an actual break. It is just another death sentence to a habit and then a fucking death sentence for more bullshit and baggage in your life that you're going to have to carry with you.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to have to go to work the next day. The grass still isn't cut. Netflix didn't improve your life whatsoever. You're not any rested because that rest period was just stress and turmoil about what you're not doing. And then you do it all over again.
Yep.
So it's funny because you look at the most productive people on the planet, you look at all the people who've been able to accomplish crazy things in their 24-hour periods, and you look at their 24-hour periods and you're like, dude, there's no downtime.
Yeah.
And you go, how do you not burn out, right? That's such a huge thing. Burnout. Burnout happens when you don't believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you fully believe in what you're doing, you cannot burn out. You can be tired, you can be sad, you can be mad, but you don't stop because you believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So if I believe that the lawn getting cut will give me some solace, the time I spent cutting the lawn is for me and it will help me relax.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And we did it. I've done it since I was a kid. It was time to go show my shitty report cards to my parents. And instead of doing that, I went and played with my friends for 4 hours.
Right.
I didn't enjoy those 4 hours at all. I was just anxiety and stress ridden the entire time.
You're just anticipating what you still have to do.
Bingo.
Because that's not going to go away. You're just pushing it off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So like, think about in your own experience, even with just this new stuff with project and, you're the marketing director and you have all these things to do and you have these questions of like, well, what should I do? And what the best answer to that is something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you do, the doing of it already calms the anxiety down of what should I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But people don't look at it that way. They look at it as, if it's not perfect, it's not worth doing. If it's not efficient, it's not worth doing, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Any progress is progress.
Yeah.
And there isn't a human alive that's not going to benefit from taking a step forward, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you get into those sad moments. How do you get yourself out? How do you,
Yeah.
in your own experience, when you have those moments where you get down on yourself or you're not as productive as you'd like to be, or you're actively avoiding something, like how do you get through that? Because it might take, a day or two or hours or whatever, but I don't think you've ever like really ran away from anything forever.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So how?
I think basically what you just said, just do it. Like you just kind of what you said, like putting it off makes it worse.
So then is there just a moment you're like, fuck it, I'm doing it?
Yeah, you kind of, I mean, I don't know if it comes as, if you're in a slump with anything, I think like you said, one step forward and then focus on the next. You don't have to think about like, okay, how I have this massive project to get done. I mean, I haven't started. How am I supposed to get it done? No, how do you get it started? And then how do you like you just have to break it down a little bit. So I think one day at a time, hour at a time, minute at a time, whatever it is, just start doing something. Like you said, I can't lay down all day every day if I'm feeling like I want to, and then I'm like, okay, another hour passed, and now it's like my to-do list is even longer because there's another hour gone, and then now my anxiety's even worse, and now I feel even worse about myself because I just put all that shit off. So yeah. And
then you say to yourself, well, I don't really want clean clothes.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to do the laundry.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't make sense to me.
You definitely, like,
you justify
all
the bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
I've done that, like, with working out before. I'm like, okay, because obviously you need rest. You do.
There you go.
I
Biggest
agree.
cop out in fitness
but
there is.
Then it's like, well, I actually haven't rested in this amount of time, so I'm going to rest again. And I went every day last week. I can miss a day. I can miss 2 this week. Whatever people do, and it's like, then that snowballs. Everything you do snowballs, whether it's forward or backwards.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
Yeah, whenever you don't take any rest days, you're just gonna keep not taking rest days, and whenever you start to take 1 and 2 and 3, and then you take a week off, and same with your diet, same with anything you can be disciplined in. It can go forward or backwards just as quickly, and it's gonna, as soon as your mind starts shifting one way, your mind's gonna take it that way as fast as you can. Because like you said, we justify everything as humans. Good and bad,
Absolutely. So then let's look at the opposite side of that spectrum, because someone who, like we talked about in the whatever episode that was with setting boundaries with relationships, doesn't the other side of the spectrum also break consistency? Meaning, I have X standards that I truly want. For example, the cleanliness of the gym. Right? I have extremely high standards for the cleanliness of the gym. When I look at a piece of equipment, I don't look at the equipment. There's a assumption that's base minimum. That's already going to be clean. I'm looking at the little crack underneath. Is there dust bunnies underneath? I'm looking the weight stack when it comes up. What about the base plate that the weight stack sits on? Right? I know that standard is higher than most. I get friction on that standard constantly because if most people's standard aren't that, then anytime I want to enforce it, I'm going to have to incur friction.
Yeah.
So I think there's a plenty to be said about people who then do decide to do 75 hard, change their lifestyle, change their boyfriend, change their job. You're actively raising your standards along the way, and then you have to be mentally fucking prepared to have nobody agree with what you're doing.
For sure. Well, and on top of that, then it's so easy to then go back on your own standards once no one's with you. So I do that to myself here all the time. So like whenever I first started, like even working out here, and I let's just use the dumbbells, for example. Okay, no, the numbers are at the bottom. They're all facing upright, blah, blah, blah. So I was really particular making sure they're like perfect looking. And then months go by and I notice, okay, if they're just facing upwards, people are fine with that too. But then every single time I do that in my head, my own head goes, no, your standard is perfect. So no matter what you see, if people put it upright, that is correct, but it's not your correct. So and that's what's hard. So yes, I agree. Once you start to get friction, it becomes harder. But also once you see other people not doing that, then you almost fight yourself too. And like you've got one side of yourself being like, oh, maybe theirs is fine, is just as good. Like,
yes.
I do that here all the time. Because
Absolutely.
this is probably the place I go to with the highest standards out of all the places I
Thank
am at. Of course. And yeah, I do that. I'm like, okay, well, just because everyone like this is good enough, it's not my good enough. And I can't back down on my good enough just because everyone else's good enough isn't the same as mine.
Well, you get called. Here's the thing. no one's called this to my face.
Yeah.
If I get called this, it's behind my back. But I don't know if it's happening. This is
Okay.
just an assumption. But I assume people think that I'm fucking OCD and that I'm crazy or
Yeah.
that I'm authoritative or I'm tyrannical.
Yeah.
That's all my own assumptions, because if I have to consistently do this friction, I assume people are going to take it negatively. But no one has to my face,
Yeah.
right? So why do I think that?
Yeah. I do the same.
Right? You go, if I were to talk to that guy who just put that dumbbell up like that
Right.
and said, hey man, can you do up and right? He's going to look at you like I did. And then you're like,
Exactly.
well, it's just a little off.
Yes.
Right? So then you're like, I'm not going to do that because he's going to look at me like I'm fucking crazy
Yeah,
or
like-
an asshole
yeah.
or a bitch or anything like that, right?
100%. Like, I don't want to be like that. But
Yes.
yeah.
But you
Agreed.
do.
But you do. Yeah, exactly.
See? So then if you don't say anything and you don't fix it, you walk away and you don't feel good.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, why? Why would I allow myself not to feel good all
Yeah.
the fucking time?
Yeah.
You know? And then what I have found in this experience is that chalk situation where I put it to him and I said, your membership is suspended until you come and talk to me. At the time I did that, there was a fucking 2-minute segment of, I think we've talked about this, where I'm like, bro, I'm going to lose my community. Like, people are going to think I'm an asshole, a tyrant, like way overbearing,
Yeah.
overstepping. And then the thing that you think about is like, if I'm truly trying to do what I'm trying to do, then so be it. Because there's more than enough people out there that do want what I want.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know,
The
right?
right
The
people
right
will
people.
stay.
That's right.
The wrong will leave.
Now we don't have to worry about hardly anything because that friction was started and continued until it became less on its own.
Yeah.
Because really, if you think about it, it's the same thing as goals. You can set a goal and then you set habits toward the goal. And if there's only one of two options, you're either going to get your goal or you're going to have to change your habits or you're going to have to change your goal. Right? Because if you have the right habits toward the right goal, they're going to meet.
Yeah.
So if you go, I'm not reaching my goal, that means you have the wrong habits. Well, if I don't want to change my habits, well, then change your goal.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not losing weight. Why aren't you losing weight? Well, because I like pizza on the weekends. Okay, then change your
Okay,
goal.
Then you don't want to lose weight.
Then you don't want to lose weight.
Yeah.
You know?
You want to eat pizza.
You want to eat pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Can't have
Yes,
both.
you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You're afraid that if you don't have your pizza, you won't have enough fun. And if you don't have enough fun, then you won't be happy. And that's more meaningful to you than whatever happiness you think weight loss is going to give you.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So I think anybody out there, because I think there's a shit ton of people. I think you're out there, guys. I think you're sitting there right now watching this shit. And I think you have something in your mind that you not only want to accomplish, but you've tasted how good it can feel, but you've stopped because it's rubbed other people the wrong way, or it's made you feel a little outside of the bubble. And you know, what I want to convey, at least from my heart, is live outside that fucking bubble and watch what kind of bubble forms around you.
Absolutely. It is so worth it. Like, and yeah, I mean, that exact thing happened to me. I like my entire circle of everyone, relationship wise, like anyone I had a relationship with at all, I no longer had, because I had nothing in common with anyone. I realized. And I was like, okay, that really fucking sucks. That sucks bad. These are people you love dearly.
But you didn't like push them
they're-
away.
No.
You didn't say,
They
hey,
just
don't talk to
slowly-
me anymore.
They almost take themselves out because they
Correct.
almost get intimidated, or they're like,
That's
okay,
it.
like, well, she changed. She
That's
stopped coming
it.
around. She
That's
stopped
it.
coming out with
Yeah.
us. She stopped talking to us.
That's
like,
right.
yeah, I did. And that's
Exactly.
fine.
Perfect.
Because now these new people who I
Yeah.
really want to be, they are also like that person, and they encourage that person, and they're the people cheering for me when I win something instead of wishing they had won instead.
100%.
So, and that's the old circle, you know. Those
Yeah.
people were fun, is what my old definition of fun. But if I had achieved something, then they're like, dude, I wish I could lose weight. I wish I could get, yeah, man, I'm so jealous. It's like, and it's so funny now because like some people like family members in my life are still intertwined with like people that I used to know from like old jobs or whatever, who just knew like the old me, you know. And then they like, they'll see me still sometimes if these events happen.
Oh,
and
your
I
old
see
your old
them.
circle?
Yeah, just from like honestly like because like I've my siblings having friends who like just they're old friends. I
Sure,
still see
sure,
them
sure,
or whatever.
sure, sure.
Like the first thing is like, I'm so jealous of you. How do you look like that? I'm like,
Bitch, what do you think? I fell from a tree and
Yeah,
like
or like, oh, I wish I could do that. I'm like, every single time, like, you can.
oh, I know.
You know, and then I'm like, I'm not even going to sit here. What did you do? Dude, I worked out for fucking 365 days straight.
Yeah.
No, it's not like well, if you work out 3 days a week and you kind of clean up your diet. No, I like fought for my life.
Fought for your life.
And I lost everyone and then I gained everyone.
Do you see?
And you know what I mean? Like, it's
Do
not.
you see?
It's consistency and it's discipline, but it's like that's the truth of consistency is doing things for literally like there's no end line. I'm still doing them every day, and it's the discipline. You're
that
still
piece
doing
right there is there's no end.
Yeah.
How long do you do it for?
30-day challenge.
No.
There's
No.
no 15-day juice cleanse, and you're gonna have your body evolve.
They're just holding on. They're like,
No,
I
dude.
want everything I want as long as it's under these parameters.
It's easy and it's fast, and it's not gonna.
I don't want to let go of myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep myself because I love myself. I love myself, so I'm gonna want this thing as long as I can drag this person into
Yeah.
it. And then the things are like, nah, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
Like
And
members
you
only.
don't love yourself if you're that desperate to change it.
Bingo.
Because I've been there. I mean, I'm not calling people out if I've been there for things I haven't done. I hated myself.
See?
So I had to lose that person.
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone else around me. And then obviously like a few your super super close knit group who even, you know, they stay, but you lose the majority of the people in your life, and that's fine because you gain really cool people along the way. That'll feel like I say that all the time. Like, how do I? So I've always said this about my dad. My dad has the greatest friends in the world that have always just been like, I have like 80 dads. Like I'm like all of his
What'd
best
you just
friends
say?
are my basically.
Did you just say you have 80
I
dads?
do.
I don't think genetically that's possible.
But I'm like, he's got the best friends in the world. How, you know, and it's because he has come from horrible shit, you know, and like he did the same thing in just a very drastically different way. But his new group, that's been his group for as long, you know, for majority of my life, he's had them. And I always said that. I'm like, dude, you have the best friends in the world. And then like slowly I'm like, oh, I'm kind of starting to see that now. Like you just get rid of really shitty people and you meet really fucking cool people. Like I can now say that. I'm like always like, I have the coolest people in the world. When we moved, I said that. I'm like, how did I just not lift a finger? And I like everything just got moved so flawlessly. Like moving houses and people who just gave up an entire day to move, like that fucking sucks. Moving sucks. And I've never had anyone to help, you know, except like I would have had Ryan, and Ryan would have had to get like all of his people, as many people as he know. It was cool that like I was like, no, I have people. Like I don't need to use your people. It was cool. It was cool. I didn't have to have him get.
And we didn't know each other for years.
Yeah, no.
There was not
It was months at that time. You know, a few months.
And it's because when you showcase your standards and your soul, passion, love comes through, I don't need to know. Like I can read it.
Yeah.
I read it.
Yeah.
I saw you stretching. I'm like, hey, you're gonna work here.
Yeah.
Like, you're a great person, so
Yeah.
you're gonna work here, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't need. There's no proof, right? Proof comes from distrust, then transitioning into trust.
Yeah.
When you see someone's soul, you can trust that right away, and if it's in the right combination of your own soul, like they're like, okay, like you're my people.
It'll work.
Here we are.
Yeah.
You know. So, but doesn't that, okay, so you said, you know, what time we got? Yeah, we got about 15 more minutes. So when you go, you know, those people, I like the people left out of my life, or you don't actively leave anybody.
No.
You don't, that's the thing I think people screw up is they're like, okay, I need to cut my friends out. Like,
Oh my God, that's such a glorified thing right now. It's like, cut out bad people.
Yes.
So,
like fucking,
everything's just extra.
I'm telling everyone right now that if you're not with me,
Yeah.
then you're against
Yeah.
me. Like, bro, fucking
I'm telling
shut
you
up.
right now, I never sent one
No, of
message
course
to
not.
anyone saying
No.
goodbye.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Ever.
Right.
I know it was just an unspoken thing that happens naturally. It's
That's
natural
right.
selection. You leave.
So
you
so
don't
in
make
college, after my freshman year, I decided I'm not drinking anymore. I didn't have any problems, but I woke up and I'm just like, dude, I don't have fun drinking. I don't have a single story of like my day being awesome because I drank the night before. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
I have plenty of the opposite.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
then, you know, I got into fitness. I ate clean. I'm like, I need to sleep 8 hours. So then I'm like, okay, so for a couple months with the roommate I had, I started making those adaptations. Hey, Bart, we're going out. You want to come? No, I'm going to stay in.
Yeah.
Hey, Bart, we're going to Domino's. No, hey, I have salmon. Dude, I bought a George Foreman, and at Lindenwood, the dorms were built in like 1525. I don't think they used material. I think it was just mud.
Right, clay.
Yeah, like the bathrooms had like that much fucking paint plastered on top of, dude, like the vent. Like they didn't even like take the vent cover off. They just rolled over the
That
vent.
sounds like my house right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like a vent is supposed to be like that square, like little holes that like, and then the paint just like got closer and closer and closer and closer. So anyway, Lindenwood didn't cook healthy food. So I'm like, if I'm going to be healthy, I got a George Foreman and I plugged it in the bathroom because there was no fire detector. So it's fucking my roommate's fucking showering and I'm on the floor cooking fucking salmon, right? Yeah, he's like, dude, it smells like fucking fish. I'm like,
he's like, I'm trying to shower.
Yeah,
I'm like
right.
Throwing up.
I'm like, just don't step out because you're gonna step on the George Foreman. Just let me know when you're done. You're gonna burn your foot.
My dinner.
So I started doing that. I started going to the gym every single day. I started that lifestyle, right? And even though I was on a collegiate volleyball team, like you would think that sports and athleticism, but people were there to party and have a good time, and I'm like, I'm over all of that.
Yeah.
So slowly, by the end of that sophomore year, I'm like, I don't really relate to anybody. I don't talk to really much. I feel weird always saying no. So they essentially just stopped asking. I'm at the lunch table, but I don't, like, everyone's talking about what just happened and I have no idea.
Yeah.
So the next year I'm like, you know what? I think it'd be best if I lived alone because then I don't have to waste any time pretending to connect to somebody or pretending, right?
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
It's like, that's like seriously underrated exhausting.
Yes,
like,
right?
No one talks
the
about
amount
that.
of effort to just exist with other people.
Yes, that you don't want to exist with.
It's
that you like, yeah. Oh my God,
sucks.
it's like overwhelming
It
sometimes.
is overwhelming.
I experience that a lot still. With
Really?
Like some of my,
You just go, there's nothing. There's nothing for me here. Why am I wasting this
that
time?
happens with my family members a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I almost like panic because I'm like, I don't know what to say. And I don't want to be in the situation. I just have to be with other people right now. It happens all the time. And I like can't explain. There's no word for it. And I've always tried to explain that feeling.
Yes.
It's just exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's heartbreakingly exhausting. And then that then impedes your motivation and consistency because you need a break from how much effort you just exuded to stay with your family members for 4 hours.
Yeah.
So
you removed yourself from the situation.
At 17, when I left for college, I never went back. So I just left my parents.
Yeah.
I'm an only child. I don't have any family. So I just left and I said, I'm good with it. And then in college, Lindenwood at the time, again, since they were so old, they didn't have any digital signing up for classes. So at Lindenwood, you had to literally stand in line and then, they'd open the doors at 9:00 and everyone would weave through these tables and you'd register for your room, register for your food, register for your classes in person. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I'm like, I don't want to live with anybody. And I know for damn fact that I can't afford to live by myself because I don't have any money. Like I was living on $100 a month. So I'm like, I'll pretend to be two different people and sign myself up for the same room.
Up.
Yeah. So I went through the whole line, took like 3 hours. I waited at 3 a.m. to be the first guy, right?
Yeah.
So I signed my name. I did everything, registered for classes. I came back at noon, completely different name, different social security number, address, classes, and I asked for that same room.
Yeah.
So I became my own roommate.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Lindenwood at the time, again, there was no like system that spoke to all the different offices.
Right.
So it's just letters being like handed.
Whatever, yeah.
They didn't fucking find out until like 8 months into the semester that
way.
this human doesn't exist because they keep sending like, they get return bills and shit.
Illegal somehow?
For sure.
It's like gotta be some sort
Absolutely.
of
I
fraud.
frauded the system, like
No
I
fucking
I could have
way.
taken like 30 credit hours if I wanted to because I was two different
you're
people.
Two people.
I did that for 3 years.
Shut the fuck
3
up.
fucking years. And I had tactics. I got friends with the RD. I was friends with the RA. I became an RA, So there was ways. But like I went to that degree to be by myself.
Yeah.
And now I have the word fucking solitude and silence tattooed on my arm because those years I didn't bring a TV. I had my laptop. I didn't go to class. I wasn't a good student. Mm-hmm. So I just literally was by myself all day, every day, went to gym, went to work, came home, cooked, grilled in my bathroom for years.
Yeah.
And I think that it gave me a superpower because there was nothing to lose. There was no one to lose. There was no friends to disappoint. There was, I just did everything I fucking wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't think people get that opportunity much.
No. And it's actually like, that's massive, along with discipline and consistency. I'd say silence and solitude are huge.
Massive.
Like, seriously. And it's funny how you even mentioned, like, you didn't bring a TV. Like, that was like one of the weirdest things that changed for me when I changed everything. Like, that day I was like over the past almost 2 years now, I've barely watched any TV. And I used to watch so much.
Me too.
Now I'm like,
Me
I don't
too.
watch TV ever.
Well, because, like, don't you feel like you're wasting?
I read and I'll listen to podcasts, but like, I don't watch TV. And like, I do now. Like, I also have more like my guilty pleasure shows.
Listen,
and like,
there's a difference.
Wrong with that. Or
There's
like
a difference in watching
night.
a show and watching TV.
Yes.
Watching TV means I'm spending 4 hours regardless of what's on.
Yes.
Watching a show means I'm gonna watch 1 episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes. But once the show is over, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, like my whole life, like I'm propped up in front of a TV, and then I'm also on my phone is what I do all the time. And I'm like scrolling on my phone, watching TV, scrolling. Like, how horrible is that for your brain?
Absolutely.
Like, so I realized how much my screen time went down and how much I don't watch TV. Like, it's just that silence and that like just like no one around and like living by yourself. And yeah, I think those are like the unspoken golden rules of staying motivated, quote unquote, is having that. Because if you're just constantly stimulated by things you don't want to be stimulated by, or just any type of stimulants, it's noise and chaos and people and whatever, it's just not. How are you going to be motivated then? How are you going to stay consistent then?
Well, that's, when we talked, I think it was the last episode where we talked about like when you get like a person that gets angry, but then instead of like feeling their feelings, they kind of just like say, well, I'm not going to be angry. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you go, I was angry. And then you just say, okay. And then you put it away. And then your memory is, I was angry. When we scroll and we don't have a silence to be like, what do I actually feel? Yeah. You go, wow, that makes me angry. Next. And then you just go, I'm angry.
Yes.
You don't know if you're actually angry. You don't know if that actually matters to you.
Yeah.
But you go, I'm angry. And then you went angry, sad, happy, funny, happy, angry, motivated, hungry.
Yeah, we're not supposed to feel like that.
Right?
All in within 2 seconds.
And so all you have is like this giant just baggage, this fucking suitcase of like, oh, I'm 80% angry.
Yeah.
Your
brain is filled with like 100 emotions in 30 seconds.
And none of them are real.
None of them are real because they're all fake and online. And you're just sitting there staring and then not really processing though, because everything's 6 seconds, because that's the only attention span humans have now.
Right.
And like, it's crazy.
So give yourself some silence and solitude, and why don't you just break down what you thought made you angry and to the most simplest point and go, wow, I'm not angry, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm not scared, I'm confused. I'm not confused.
I tell everyone, like, write shit down.
Yeah.
Like, write shit down. Like, it does not matter if you're good.
Yeah.
If you're good at writing, you don't have to write some beautiful fucking
Well, it slows you down, right? The act of writing slows you down.
Just write, like, or just put anything on paper, or just even like say it out loud, whatever. Just like start like working through shit, and then you'll realize what you're actually feeling.
Which is so much less.
Yeah. It feels like a ton. And then that's with everything. Everything feels way bigger than it is whenever it's like negative emotions,
Am I really mad? Am I really upset? Am I really scared?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Like, daunting tasks aren't ever as bad as
they're never daunting.
Because if you're looking at the end picture, like I said, you're looking at the finished project, not starting it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so to wrap up the summary for everyone out there: consistency, discipline, silence, solitude.
Yeah.
Periods.
And you are unstoppable.
Minus the periods. Yeah. Sorry, I snuck that one in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That screws that up. That's what I'm saying about the whole being surprised about it. Like,
I'm not
it's
surprised,
coming.
I'm just annoyed, and I'm having heat flashes.
You're not 48 years old.
I am on my period.
Yeah.
Okay, if you are all of a sudden just enjoying your day and then someone just punches you as hard as they can in the gut, and then all of a sudden you're 900 degrees, tell me you're not just a little bit annoyed, and then be like, why
but
are
if
you
I
surprised?
knew it was coming, if I knew there was a guy
Okay.
today going to punch me in the gut, and then the sun's going to hit my face.
It's what second it's happening.
Yeah, but you know it's today or tomorrow.
You don't.
You have a 48-hour period where you're like,
That would be nice
it's
to
gonna
have
be bad.
that regular of a cycle.
It is.
You have a regular
Yes.
cycle? Good for you. It's probably light too.
Guys have cycles, by the way.
Yeah.
Next episode.
It's
There's a biorhythm to men
probably
documented.
in sync with your wife's.
No. Ours is like 3 months. Swear.
3 months out of the year, you're pissed.
No, it's like, yeah, that's right. 3 months, it's like a 3-month cycle. Like it changes every 3 months, but that's more.
Do you shed your skin?
I'm not a fucking snake, Connor.
That's next week's episode. Is Bart is actually a reptile.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Not a podcast out.
Bye.
Bye.